Okay, good news, I managed to land on the death egg. Bad news, I've got no idea where the hell I'm supposed to... Oh, bugger! Can I possibly get through this place without breaking another limb? Oh, god damn it! Right, now I've actually found the bloody level, let me bid you all an experimental welcome to the Death Egg Zone. This level's gimmick? Science! And the shameless raping thereof. Seriously, I challenge you to find anything in this level aside from the floor that is in any way feasible in the realms of physics. Anyway, this is the final platforming level of the game, and the level's difficulty reflects that. It's hard to navigate, the enemies attack without warning, it's got a 2-stage sub-boss and no less than 4 level bosses. Even the very walls want to shoot you. In short, difficult. This seesaw thing does what you'd expect. Stand on one side and the other side raises up, allowing you to reach higher platforms. Stand on it too long, however, and the whole thing will collapse under your weight. You'll only find a few of them in this level, and most of them are hovering above pitfalls. Caution is advised. If you think it's going to fall apart, then stand on the other side to slow it down. The first enemy I'm going to talk about is this thing, known as the chain spike, or the crow in Japan. They move rapidly from side to side, and when they're above you, they attack by lowering a spike out of their arse and through your head. They move fast and attack faster, and much like the Orbinauts of level 6, they're hard to hit without getting hurt. Insta-shields or hypersonic are the weapons of choice for these things. Moving conveyor belts are a common sight in this level, Act 2 especially. The basic idea is to ride them while avoiding spikes and wall-mounted missile launchers. Jumping on them causes the conveyor belt to rotate in the opposite direction. A small detail, but you'd be surprised how many times these things killed me back in the day, just because I held down one direction thinking I was safe, and then get sent straight into a wall of spikes when I jumped. Gravity manipulation plays a big part in this level, but I'll talk about that later. For now, however, these magnetic things are few and far between. Grab onto them and they rise, usually attaching themselves to a conveyor belt. They often mark the start of alternate paths. In fact, very few of them are required to progress. What you're about to witness is a rather pathetic attempt to show you a secret stash of shields. So I'm going to fill the time by talking about the second and final common robot of the level, and indeed the entire game. Now there's a very good reason why I chose to do this one last. That's because its name is completely absurd. The Spike Bonker. I'll just give you a second for that to sink in. Stop laughing? Right. Known as Guardi in Japan, but don't let the name fool you. These things have one hell of a reach, and can attack you from across the screen. The spiked ball they wield acts like a boomerang and returns every time it's fired. They attack slowly, but the range of their attacks can catch you off guard. And their weak spot, like most other robots in the game, is the head. It should come as no surprise that the recommended shield for this level, as recommended by yours truly, is the Lightning Shield. Aside from the obvious jumping boost, and its ring attracting ability, the Lightning Shield negates all electrical attacks. The abundance of wire coils that allow lethal electrical spikes to arc across them makes the Lightning Shield indispensable. Speaking of wire coils, they make up the bulk of this level's environmental hazards. With flickering sprites that glow neon blue, and the loud electrical arcs that randomly jump from them, spotting them isn't a problem. The problems start when you want to traverse them. The majority of these coils are located on the ceiling or underneath platforms, but there are some that require, shall we say, special transportation to cross them. But before we get to that, I'd like to point out that this level is littered with secret areas. Act 2, not so much, but Act 1 has no less than 5 secret areas that I know of, all of them containing shields or a small stash of rings. Pretty obvious, I know, since there are no more warp rings left in the game, but I am sort of obligated to tell you these things. Yes, anyway. If anyone knows how to describe this thing, then please feel free to do so. As far as I can tell, it's the bottom half of a tank that happily trundles across the wire coils and changes direction whenever it hits a wall or when Sonic jumps on it. It seems to follow the same mechanics as the conveyor belts from earlier, but this time you can safely stand on the top. They appear a few times in the level, and they can be found in both acts. I would, however, advise caution, because there's usually a few wall-mounted missile launchers aimed right at Sonic, forcing you to jump out of their way and prolong the ride. If you have a lightning shield, however, you can just run across the coils and bypass the whole affair. The concept of gravity is lost on the universe for a while, during which time you have to tackle this thing. Looking at the level map, I'd say it's the interior of a jet engine, which puts into question how the hell Sonic is still alive. Either way, the idea of this room is simple. There's a set of 6 yellow spots on a block floating in the centre of the room. All you need to do is hit them all, turning them red and opening the door allowing you to leave. Don't be surprised if this takes a while. This level is full of time wasters like this, and with a sprinkle of practice and a dash of patience, you should be out of here in no time. You no doubt noticed that obnoxious yellow energy thing a few seconds ago. Those things are important in their own right, but not as important as this week's sub-boss. Red Eye lives in here and is happily doing what it does best. Pissing me the fuck off! You want some advice for this fight? Use Hypersonic to smash its smug face in. Its first form throws its balls in your face, which burst into 8 spikes when you hit the eye being its one and only weak spot. Its second form can die horribly in a ditch for all I care. Hit it and the bloody thing goes insane, with spinning spiky platforms, a continuous laser, and that high-pitched whine that scrapes down my very soul. It does calm down after a while, allowing you to hit it again, but do your ears a favour and kill this thing quickly. A truly absurd 16 hits to this thing, and Act 1 is complete. Act 2 starts with Sonic disregarding the laws of physics once again by surviving in what I can only assume is the complete vacuum of space. In the Western version, this game is set on the planet Mobius. Now I'm quite happy to believe that planet Mobius has a breathable atmosphere that extends about 1,000 miles from its surface. In Japan, however, Sonic lives here on Earth. From this I deduce that in the late 80s and early 90s the Japanese believed that mammals could survive unprotected in space. This is of course complete crap since Japan is the centre of modern technology. Although this does explain why the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, the Japanese equivalent of NASA, wasn't established until 2003. Any Japanese people watching, please don't take offence from that. I owe you guys so much, we all do, but this crap does destroy my immersion somewhat. Anyway, social commentaries aside, as I said before, gravity manipulation plays a big part in this level. More so in Act 2 than Act 1. You'll spend the majority of Act 2 on the ceiling. Don't fall into the trap of thinking that just because your perspective has been inverted, your controls are inverted as well. Regardless of whether you're standing on the floor or the ceiling, the direction buttons stay the same. Pressing left will still move Sonic to the left hand side of the screen, and vice versa. I suppose I should take a few seconds to mention the force field bridges. They play a major role in helping you cross the level's many chasms. From my thorough studies of these devices, by which I mean the 30 seconds I spent watching the recorded footage from the start of Act 1, I realised that they run on a 4-second loop, spending 3 seconds turned on and 1 second turned off. I highly recommend using the spin dash ability to cross them. But having said that, I haven't found any that cross a pitfall, so don't be too upset if you should fall through. Speaking of pitfalls, there's one right underneath these 2 seesaw platforms. This is the only pitfall in Act 2, and really, unless you've fallen asleep at your controller, you shouldn't need to worry about it. I've got no choice but to talk about the yellow energy bridges right now, simply because there's about 1.5 minutes before we meet the level bosses, and I'm about to run into 3 of them. They catch you unawares and force you to spin dash through an anti-gravity corridor made up of yellow energy rings. They're found in both acts, and only 2 of them are required to progress, as they allow you to reach higher portions of the level. The rest were put here to waste your time, in the same manner as the quote-unquote cutscenes from the launch base zone. And just to prove this theory, I'm going to shut up so you can watch one of them. Pay close attention to the path this thing takes just to cross a simple room. I challenge you to find a plausible explanation other than time wasting to justify the existence of such an erratic path. Anyway, the only thing left to talk about for this level are those wall-mounted missile launchers. Not much to tell really, they spit out small projectiles, which to be honest look more like blue fish than missiles. They seem to fire once every 5 seconds or so, and you'll find them literally everywhere. In fact, aside from the electrical wire coils, they make up the bulk of this level's environmental hazards. After activating the last star post of the game, go forth and fight the level's 4 bosses.
Yes, Sonic, old chap, glad you could join me. Allow me to introduce my latest invention, the Death Ball. Thanks to its high-strength shield that tracks your every movement, you'll never be able to damage it.
Yes, looks like I'll have to use my brain for this one.
Well, don't overexert your tiny mind on my account.
Ah, there you go.
Okay, how the bally hell did you manage that?
Well, it's quite simple, really. These small spiky things it spits out are affected by the change in gravity. All I have to do is alter the room's gravity at the right time, so the spiky side hits the floating ball. After that, it's just a matter of avoiding the 3 small spikes that fall off them. Wash, rinse, repeat.
I hate you with a passion, I hope you know that.
Why? It's not my fault you keep underestimating my intellect.
Ow, bloody sneak attack! I'm not done with you yet, Hedgehog.
Well, I don't need all those rings to take you down.
Come back here.
Okay, why can you run as fast as me?
It's not my fault you keep underestimating my athleticism.
Touché.
The fuck? Yes, cower in fear at the sight of the great Eggman Robo.
Yeah, I've been meaning to ask, where the hell did you get the name Eggman from?
That? Oh, it's a reference to the Beatles song I Am the Walrus.
Yeah, that makes no sense whatsoever. Must be a localization thing.
Idle chatter aside, prepare to be squashed underneath my 5 fingers. Underneath my 3 fingers.
You're not seriously going to do that joke again, are you?
Yes, I suppose it's a tad redundant now I've only got 1 finger. Oh, fuck it. Activate Stage 2!
And Stage 2 would consist of...
the deployment of my primary weapon. A laser powered by the Master Emerald itself. Fire!
Holy shit!
Oh yes, and I fitted a small flamethrower to the nose as well.
Why? That's like fitting a machine gun turret to a nuke.
Let it never be said that I don't plan for every eventuality.
You're a madman. A complete and total psychotic madman.
That is what you've driven me to. All I want is to rule the world, but no, you have to keep screwing up my ideas. With your justice and your morals and your goody two-shoes blue streak fastest thing alive hero save the day once again seconding bullshit.
Okay, dude, calm down. We can talk about this. There are other ways to rule the world. You ever thought of running for government?
Oh, please, I'm not that socially inept.
Oh, I'll just defeat you in the normal way then, shall I?
All of my hate I inflict upon thee.
Prick. Well, you get a nice view of the world up here.
You may have humbled my finest robotic creations, destroyed my army of elite sub-boss class guards, torn apart my personal anti-hedgehog creations, and completely obliterated my crowning achievement, the Death Egg. Twice. but I'll fight you to the last shred of my being and boldly run away from you as fast as my egg pod will carry me.
You know, you could have flown to the left side of the screen and I'd never be able to catch you.
Oh, in the name of Schrodinger's ballsack, why can't I get anything right?
Oh, does the madness ever end?